Hi, this is Laura Francis of cohort 136, and the research I'm proposing would test the hypothesis that clients of the CalWORKs program who have a history of substance abuse are less likely to complete the program successfully if they do not receive treatment for their addiction. This presentation will address the question of why this research is necessary. Substance abuse is a serious issue in our communities, and it plays a significant role in the disintegration of families. Programs like CalWORKs were designed to help families overcome adversity and become self-sufficient. However, when a family seeks assistance from government programs without first dealing with the underlying cause of their problems, there is little chance that any change they are able to make will be sustainable. Assistance for drug and alcohol addiction is available, but not mandatory. I think that gaining a statistical understanding of the effects of substance abuse on the efficacy of the CalWORKs program could provide a catalyst for changes within the program. I feel this research is very relevant if we are to effectively assist our clients and help more families make it out of the system. Alcohol and drug use has been identified as a potential barrier to gaining and sustaining employment. The Department of Health and Human Services states that anywhere from 6 to 37% of welfare recipients have a substance abuse problem. Prior to the welfare reform of 1996, the welfare system did not address issues of substance abuse. The main priority was income maintenance. However, once temporary assistance for needy families was instituted, the focus shifted, as there were now work requirements and time limits on cash assistance. Agencies became tasked with assessing the skills, prior work experience, and employability of each recipient. This empowered agencies to require recipients to undergo substance abuse treatment as a requirement to receive welfare. The most prominent gap for clients receiving substance abuse treatment appears to be in the screening process. Through the reviewed literature is a common thread with most of the workers feeling that substance abuse screenings make it difficult to build a relationship with their clients, for if they're the ones to present it, the client becomes defensive and unresponsive to assistance. Another barrier in the screening process is the time limit pressure on workers. The priority is not on helping. Rather, the screening is to provide referrals to services with the priority on getting participants off welfare and in the paid labor force and meeting the mandated time limits. With this pressure, even if a client reports a need for assistance for substance abuse, the best they can do is to give a referral. The official welfare policy and the day-to-day work conditions, relationships with clients, and the unstated stigma surrounding substance abuse creates an environment that interferes with other identification efforts. With their hands figuratively tied by policy and circumstance, it becomes very difficult for social workers to provide clients with the necessary services to succeed in the CalWORKs program. With these barriers, the onus of receiving treatment falls on the client self-disclosing, which does not happen very often and with good reason. According to workers, a particular client fear is that admitting to substance abuse could lead the workers to report the activity to child welfare system and ultimately perhaps to the loss of child custody. And these fears are legitimate. Among the suspected barriers to identification are clients who resist identification efforts because of stigma, lack of awareness, or for fear of the consequences of admitting to alcohol or drug use. Furthermore, researchers discovered that many CalWORK participants were not even aware of supportive services like domestic violence, mental health, or substance abuse. The reports of confusion, fear, and unawareness are universal across the literature studied. One of the most difficult issues CalWORK participants have to contend with are the sanctions for noncompliance. While compliance with all the rules and regulations are not easy for anyone, it's particularly difficult for someone simultaneously dealing with substance abuse. It is reported that sanctioned recipients are twice as likely to have used hard drugs as non-sanctioned recipients. Therefore, these women have the extra stress of having the resources they need reduced, which adds more stress to their situation. Another lasting effect is their ability to get and keep employment. Women with substance abuse problems are reported as having lower educational achievements, fewer job skills, and less job experience in comparison to men with substance abuse problems. And in addition to this, they often are raising their children alone. These 7 barriers make it increasingly difficult for women with substance abuse issues to get the help they need in order to successfully find employment that will provide them with the funds necessary to support themselves and their children, or to attend school to get better prospects for employment. Thus, from the research, it seems that the CalWORKs program is ineffective for their needs. With these barriers in mind, I believe the best approach would be a longitudinal cohort study. As the clients are involved in the program for a time limited to 48 months, their progress could be tracked on a yearly basis without interfering with the subjects. When a client comes to the office, the question as to whether or not the client feels they require treatment for a substance abuse problem is included in the intake questionnaire and then entered into the computer system where the client data could be tracked. A month worth of clients being processed for the CalWORKs program could provide a subgroup that could be tracked in years to come. And client privacy may be a concern for some. However, the information that is gathered from clients can be tracked without disclosure of client information. It would come to the research team as quantitative data without identifiers. As stated earlier, the only reason this information is gathered is for referral purposes and due diligence. The results of the research would not have a direct impact on any of the client's cases. With the information that is initially gathered, the research team can track yearly changes that occur within the cohort until the end of the 48-month time limit, which may provide a cause and effect relationship between substance abuse and treatment. In addition to tracking those that are dropped from the program for noncompliance, they could also track which subjects have been sanctioned due to noncompliance and compare those numbers to those without substance abuse issues. There are some limitations to the study, such as where to include clients that come to the program having already been to a substance abuse treatment program, and what about the clients that don't disclose at intake but rather wait a few months and then disclose. Additionally, there's the biggest problem in the screening process and those that never disclose that they have a substance abuse issue. By including them in the non-user category, the data would be incorrect, especially if the number is significant. I believe that the findings of this study would be that more clients who receive treatment for their substance abuse would succeed in the program than those that did not. I believe this would be the result due to the discipline and self-actualization that occurs when tackling the issue of substance abuse. I've seen these changes that occur in people when they regain power over their lives, and I think that this would translate into a positive change for those in the CalWORKs program. In the article, Welfare Reform and Substance Abuse, the author stresses the need for more longitudinal studies. Very few studies have been done since welfare reform came into existence, nor since the article was written, and more research is necessary if these clients are going to get the help that they need. Thank you.